The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown. The most engaging, impactful, informative, and entertaining talk show ever. Get ready to hear the voices of many local, state, and national artists, musicians, comedians, pastors, athletes, and politicians. It's time for South Florida Live with Jeffrey Brown.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the South Florida Live podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown. And as I always say, this is the day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. Hey, listen, I hope everyone experienced peace and blessings on the day. Everyone had a very, very productive day, and all is well. Everyone reached their destinations to wherever this morning and back home safely on this evening. And everyone, no hurt, harm, or danger, was out of hurt, harm, or danger. But everybody's doing well. Anyway, come on in. It's that time. We are talking finance with the one and only Lisa Rogers Cherry. Last week was powerful, man. So let's come on and join us this evening. Let's talk finance on this evening. Those that are coming in, that's tuning, that's joining us through via Facebook, you know the drill. You know what to do. Go ahead and hit like and share, and tag a few people, please. Let's tag some folks on tonight for this podcast, this episode, if you will. Yes.
You know, what Sincere is really trying to say is that from the cool breeze to the beautiful trees.
Come on, join us. Let's share, please share. Those that are viewing by YouTube, like and share, please. Like and share on this evening. Thank you for those that's tuning in. Thank you for those that's joining us on this evening. I appreciate that. All right, the sounds you're hearing in the background, that is Sincere, and the title of that single is "That's God." La la la, that's God. Powerful single. That's one of South Florida's finest. If you have not got that single yet, please go out and get it. It's on all digital platforms. Sincere. That's God. La la la. Hey, listen, we're going to get started. We're going to get this party started because I know my guest is ready to make us smarter and help us in the area of finance and money. So I'm gonna give you guys about 30 seconds before we get started. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on in. Come on in. And those that are watching, if you are watching and everything is sounding great, you see us well, the sound and the signal is great, let me know. Give me some thumbs up. Show me some love, show me some hearts, please. Let me know that everything sounds great on this end. Thank you, thank you. Yes, we are so grateful, so honored to have this young lady with us on this evening. Man, listen, last week was powerful. I learned so much myself, and I was getting text messages from others that was, saying how powerful, how informative it was, and they appreciated the tips. And it's something that she does during the week, every week. I think Friday she gives a tip, financial tip or a tip that'll help you. So you want to make sure you tune in and you check her out. That's Lisa Rogers Cherry, and she'll give you information and her stuff once she gets on. But hey, with no further ado, we're gonna bring her on. We definitely ready for this. Yes, we are. It's her, Lisa Rogers Cherry. It's that time, y'all. We're talking finance. Hey, good evening.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Running. I've been running.
Yeah, I heard. You said you were from one meeting to another, but like I said, I guess that you had a productive day.
I did. It was very productive.
Okay, if you can, I don't know if your volume, check your volume. Turn up. We were fine earlier.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but it's okay. We're good. All right, there you go. We're good. Yeah. Last week, tip Friday, you gave a very interesting one. Can you revisit that one, or you remember the tip that you gave on Friday?
What did I talk about last Friday?
What was it? Because you had your little pineapples and stuff all around you, whatever.
About packing the lunches.
Packing the lunches. Yeah.
Yep. Oh my gosh. And that was based on a true story.
Really?
The funniest thing was after my daughter left to go to college, she told me for years I packed her lunch. And she finally told me after she left to go to college that she never ate the sandwiches that I made for her because she didn't like lunch meat. Do you know how much money I spent?
Whoa.
But she didn't throw them away. She gave them away. But I could have used that money for something else. She never told me until she went to college. She was like, Mom, lunch meat is gross.
Oh, like, wow. All those years.
All those years. I packed a lunch every day.
And she decided to disclose that
on her way to college.
She's in college. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Because other words, she was saying, Mom, that's one thing you don't have to worry about me while I'm in college, purchasing lunch meat for me. Don't even waste your money.
But my son, on the other hand, he would eat whatever. I mean,
yeah. He was good with it. He was okay with it. Yeah. He was all right with it.
Yes. And that's one of the things I learned from her. Make sure you know what your kids like. So you're not wasting. I mean, I would sometimes go, oh my gosh, I have to go run to the store Sunday night. because I didn't have any more lunch meat.
Yeah, because it's not like when we were growing up. It's basically we were going to eat whatever they put in front of us.
Bologna with the red rim.
With the little thing around it, man, you better go now.
Fry it up and put some cheese
Fry
on
that thing up. Be poking in the middle to bring it down because it be rising up in the pan. Man, watch it now. Watch it.
Do you remember government cheese, Jeff?
Oh, what? Yes. We weren't in the high rise, baby. We were Mama was standing in that line and that ham. Don't play. Yes, those was some good grilled cheese sandwiches back in the day. What? Mama used that stuff for to do her mac and cheese and everything.
I think that we're dating ourselves, but that's okay.
Yeah, but it's good. I always say the millenniums and the Gen Zs they won't ever they mixing out. They just don't know what they're missing out. My son would say, "Well, I'll just miss out."
I've had all kinds of cheeses. I've traveled the world, but that cheese from back in the day, that government
just
cheese,
was something about it. Something about that. There was something about that cheese right there. Yeah, those were the days. That was definitely the days. But we still, I mean, even now we have to be, kind of mindful of some of the stuff that we get and whatnot. But kids now, it's some things they're not.
They won't eat certain things.
Yeah.
Goodness, my kids aren't that way. Well, because I know growing up, I would have just gone to bed hungry if I didn't want what my mom cooked.
And that's that's what they say. Oh, well, if you don't eat, you don't have to eat it. You can go to bed hungry. You don't have to eat it.
Yeah.
And they stuck to their word.
They did.
I know a family that they have a child that don't eat this, didn't like this, don't eat this. And they would compensate him by just going and get him something from McDonald's.
Nope.
Don't get some nuggets and fries. He don't do this.
Nope. There's food in there. Nope. She's like, there's hamburger meat and French fries at home. So nope. We just got right by McDonald's. Can we stop at McDonald's? Nope.
I got McDonald's at home. I'll
make you have McDonald's money.
That part. But hey, I'm so glad to have you again on with us this evening again, to share with our audience, share with my viewers, and hopefully someone out there that's watching, my viewers, would find something that you're sharing with us to help them in the area of finance. So I'm going to kick it off, if you don't mind. I'm going to kick off. It's some things that I was thinking about to present to you. Well, I was just speaking for some of the folks out there in the in my audience, in the viewers. Let's start off with this. How can single parents, as well as a 2-parent household, be more financially secured?
Okay.
What are some of the things that they can do to be more secure? Not only that, but in a way where they're able to share and teach this to their kids.
Oh, wow. That's great. Several things that I've taught my clients and that I try to practice myself to strengthen financial stability. Number one, a lot of people have problems because they don't have health insurance. They find themselves with debt, or not going to the hospital, or not going to the doctor because they don't have insurance, and the situation gets worse. They don't do checkups. They may go to urgent care versus having an annual checkup. Getting insurance is a great way to ensure that you can go and do your regular physicals and preventative maintenance. That's one thing, because once it's gone too far, it gets to be really expensive. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing that I teach individuals a lot is to try to get into home ownership, because it gives the family stability. And people say, well, I can't afford rent. But what I'm seeing, I can't afford a mortgage. What I'm seeing now is that a lot of people's rent is more than a mortgage. So there are down payment assistance programs and different county governmental programs that can help you get into home ownership. And that gives you stability, which helps make the family secure. And then you leave something for your children. So
Yeah, because me as I was a single parent.
mhm,
And I did find it sometimes I wish I mean, had someone to share, and I guess I could have researched, reached out, but I found it sometimes very tough. Sometimes just as a single parent and trying to pay a mortgage, and take care of this, take care of your kid, and you got bills and you got utilities and all this stuff, and trying to budget that and make it happen. And it's possible as a single parent to get caught up in trying to make so much happen on probably a budget that's not at a level that you want it to be, or where you're able to
that
do the things that you want. But but still in the midst of that, you still trying to build your finance,
mhm.
and try and be finance secure in that. um as a single parent, I found that to be real challenging. So, um,
And
take
a
me
lot
back then to what would you have said to me then, if I was talking to you then?
you may need to, number one, you said the B word. You set a budget and say, okay, this is what I can afford. This is what I have. And I'm going to talk about it later, but you don't live above your means. If initially you only have X amount and you have children, with children comes responsibilities and activities and expenses. I mean, there's no way around it. Kids are expensive. If you have more than one, it's super expensive.
Yeah,
You have to budget and then be willing to, I think I mentioned in the last session, um, pick up an extra job, or pick up some extra hours, or do whatever you need to do to make the extra income. If the kids are old enough, maybe they can pick up a part-time job
right.
to help out.
Right. Yeah, because with me, it was my schedule it was real tough. I was working in the school system and coaching.
Hmm.
And at the time, my son was in athletics also. So it was like, okay, soon as I get out of my practice, I have to go to his practice, pick him up, or I was taking younger when he was younger, get home. By the time we get home, try and get settled, try and eat, take him to his Optimus practice. And then once he got into high school, he was at Nova at first, and then now Nova gets out, almost about
Hmm.
5 o'clock, get out late. And by the time he was finishing practice, it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock. So um, I know one thing I did do. I cooked. We did not eat out. We did not go by McDonald's, pick up something fast food. I literally started cooking, and I would share with some single parents, some single fathers, that, hey man, listen, that crock pot with my friend.
Hmm.
Now, because that in that aspect, I was trying to save from spending extra money in that. But some of the other areas, I was just not it was not working for me.
That's a good point. I mean, and sometimes you have to rely on your village. With me, I had the kids. Both kids were super active. My daughter did volleyball. My son was in 6 different bands, and their dad was traveling. So I had to have my mom, my aunt, my cousins. Everybody pitched in to pick up, to bring lunch, to drop off lunch, to bring dinner, drop off dinner. We just made it work. I mean, like you said, cooking was a great way. And sometimes we had to stop and pick up something on the way, me coming from work or them coming from event or an activity. We tried to pack lunches and prepare ahead of time, but sometimes they didn't get home till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they ate dinner in the car on the way home from a West Palm Beach tournament,
Mhm. Right.
we
Right.
did we had to do, but cooking is a great idea. You go to the grocery store, you go to BJ's or Sam's Club and buy, the meals that you can prepare in a week that don't take as long. There's stuff that's already prepared, and do different things. You do what you have to do to get to where you need to go. And I mean, that's a great thing that you mentioned, because that's what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to come to that realization that, man, listen, we can't. And so I thank God that I watch mom and whatever
Mhm.
uh cook. So like I tell a lot of guys and a lot of single parents, man, listen, that crock pot was my friend. I fell in love with the crock pot because you can put something in that, turn it on low, And by the time you come home from that long day, you walk in the
Ready.
door, it's ready.
Mhm.
Just throw some vegetables on in a pot, and cook that up, and then you're good. So that area that you have to be very careful in that as single, because I know as single parent, like I said, like you said, you got more than one, because just one was tough. Just making sure they have clothes, and then this, and it killed me when he went to Nova. I'm thinking Nova was uniform school. Come to find out they wasn't, because I was filling the uniforms because you can find about seven set, and you kind of good for
Right.
most of the year, and just replace one as you go. But when I was like, oh no, y'all messing up my groove here. But yeah, so that part, like you said, you have to be mindful and dedicated to setting a budget and sticking to it. I didn't stick to it. I'll confess, I didn't stick to it. But later on, I got it together. There's some people that may be watching, may know what this is, but have heard of it, but don't know what is a cash reserve levels. What
Cash,
is
cash reserves are funds that individuals or businesses keep on hand to cover like short-term and unexpected expenses such as debt obligations and business expenses. They can be used to fund like unexpected growth opportunities and help avoiding taking on new debt. It's just like something that you have on hand in case something pops up.
Okay, so that's just like for a rainy day,
Right.
just reserved to have a rainy day.
Mhm.
How that sometimes that's real. That can be difficult. That can be challenging to maintain that. So if you have that, and say for instance, somebody may need that reserve is not for going out to eat.
Mm-hmm. No, that's more
That
for
reserve,
unexpected expenses like the broken window or
yeah.
somebody gets
Yeah.
hurt or a flat tire or something like that. If something unexpected happens, like sort of like an emergency fund.
Yeah. So even in that, you got to be disciplined and
Right.
committed to sticking with it, because your
And
girl's going out and your boy's going out, and you may be low in funds. That don't mean you go to that reserve. You
Nope.
just can't. You just choose. You can't go, or you go and you just have water, or
What happens when you get there and then they split the bill 6 ways?
Yeah, right. So you're
Like,
stuck.
I need
So
that
that's why I
water.
say you just ask for lemons and some water,
And they're
and
like, nope, we're splitting this 6 ways.
lemonade. Make me some lemonade. I'm not ordering
You
anything.
got to chip in. You got to pay for everybody. We're splitting the bill 6 ways. That's the new thing.
No, not if I ain't ordering anything. I'm not doing it. No.
I've been out with some friends and I ordered a salad and water, because in my book I talk about when you go out to dinner, they charge you $3 for a small glass of Sprite or whatever.
Right.
I drink water when I'm out. I'll drink Sprite or whatever when I get home, because it adds up, right? So I'm there ordering a salad and water, and my friends are ordering filet mignon and escargot and drinks and drinks and drinks. And I'm sitting there going, okay, the bill is coming. And I know they're going to say, we're going to split this 6 ways.
No. I know. I'm not splitting 6 ways, and I only had a salad and water. No.
I'm telling you.
I'm going to take care of my salad, and that's it. So
you're not going to be invited next time.
I'll be okay with that. The separation life is okay with me. So even with that, you have to be disciplined. So what's the difference between that and cash reserve strategies?
Well, it's similar, because when you have cash reserves, in order to be effective with it, I'd say you have to do certain things. You have to set a goal. You have to contribute to it regularly, and you have to monitor it, because you put in certain amount. Let's say you say, oh, okay, for my cash reserves, I'm putting $100 a month. That's just pie in the sky. I'm just picking a number. $100 a month. You put in $100, and then your son says, Dad, I need an extra pair of cleats for this tournament. We're wearing blue cleats in honor of whatever. And you're like, this is my reserves for an emergency. So do you use that money, or do you use your credit card, or what are you going to do? I mean, you consider what you're putting the money in, and if you have to use it, when are you going to be able to replace it? You say, okay, I'm going to use this money for this to buy his cleats, but what can I do to replace this $100 so that I can keep X amount of dollars in my reserve?
Right. Wow. Yeah. So those that are watching, I mean, both of these you got to be real disciplined about and committed to stand to it. And I know sometimes you want to break, you know, that there's that dress or that outfit, fellas, that you see and you like, man, I ain't got boy, I want that. And
Or,
you don't have
a concert, somebody's coming to town, a concert, a comedy show.
Yeah.
Everybody's going. It's somebody's birthday. They came to your birthday party. Now they're having their party at the Diplomat, and they want you to come. But you had a party at McDonald's, but
Chuck E. Cheese. Yeah.
So, and it happens. So what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Wow. Those are tough decisions to make, but I guess you gotta in this you have to look, I guess, in the long run or in the future of what you're trying to build. What's more important?
Exactly.
That concert, that outfit, or financial security, being financially stable,
right?
To do whatever you want to do when you want to. Now, you know, you're at that point now you can do what you want to do when you want to do, how you want to do, but
not even blink.
Right. Still, you still got to be disciplined even in that range. So it's there we go. It's discipline. What is debt management?
It's a strategic approach to planning and repaying your debt. We all have debt. There's good debt. There's bad debt. I mean, home ownership. I just talked about, you know, this being stable in owning a home. That's good debt. You have student loans. That's debt. You have a car payment. That's debt. Credit cards. Being able to plan and repay the debt. That's debt management. The goal is to alleviate the financial strain and prevent more debt. And I try to teach people now, if you can't pay cash for something, don't use your credit cards. I mean, unless it's an emergency, try to stay away from your credit cards, because if you keep using the credit card, you're just digging yourself into a deeper hole.
It's just a cycle. You're just doing a cycle.
And guess what? You're paying it back with interest. Those shoes that you got on sale at the Dillard's 40% off sale are no longer what you paid for if you got them with your credit cards, because you're paying that interest. You're paying a whole lot more for those same shoes because you use your credit card.
But you got some people say, "Oh, well, I'll purchase with my credit card, and then I'll just, when it's time, I'll just pay it off. Okay. I'll just pay it all off."
No, that's fine. If you're disciplined enough to use it and pay it off and get the points. I mean, I teach people about getting certain credit cards with the rewards. I mean, I have one that gives me miles, and I use that, and then I pay it off, and I use it, get miles. I mean, I've gone on a few free trips because I use that.
So what is I'm gonna put these two together. What is cash flow management and how to build a large inflow outflow?
Okay, you getting on the business side now. But cash flow is just managing the process and tracking and analyzing the money that comes in and the money that goes out. It's income and expenses. You're bringing money in, and then you're spending money out. I mean, effective cash management strategies help to predict how much money you'll be available to cover payroll, debt, invoices, whatever expenses you have. Money coming in, you get paid for certain things, and then money going back out, covering payroll or whatever, paying your bills, light bill, phone bill, whatever you have to pay. So that's what cash flow is. The assets minus the liabilities, and that's going to give you net worth. That's the next thing. You're looking at the full total picture, the inflow and the outflow, the money coming in and going out.
So that's just, just that money going in, but you have something processed in the process that is going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think hopefully you're gonna get another payment, whether it's your paycheck or whether it's people buying your goods. Something else is gonna come in hopefully next month
to cover what you put out.
Right.
What you put out. So is that no, we're not. Is that kind of like okay, where you're kind of not really in the investment market or whatever, where you got money going, you may take some money out, but you got something coming back in, or is that where you've got set up a company, a business, or whatever, where if I spend this money out, I know next week I got job or this event or whatever to put it back?
It's the latter, because investments, that's totally different. You invest in something, and the way the market is, you can lose it all. I mean, hopefully you won't, but if it's not something that's stable and sure, you can have, okay, I'm going to buy this stock today, and it could be worth $100, and tomorrow it's worth $50.
Right.
Or tomorrow it could be worth $200. It just depends on what the investment is and how the market is, or what's going on, what's happening in the world, actually. So I kind of don't talk a whole lot about investments. That's not my forte. I do have, a few stocks and mutual funds, so I'm familiar with it, but you have people who do that every day. That's not me.
Right. Yeah, I know some folks that's all they do all day, every day. And,
I did it for a minute. The day trading, oh my goodness. You talk about being on pins and needles and watching, and you can't move, you can't go to lunch because you got to watch and wait, and it goes up, and you're like, oh, wait, let me do this, and let me call, let me do that.
Yeah.
Talk about stressful.
Yeah, they popping Red Bulls all day.
I think I was about a week and a half, and I was like, okay, no, this is not my strong suit.
Yeah, but I mean, some of them have been very profitable in it, and did very well, and doing very well. Because I know some people have done like 1,000 a week, 1,000 a day. Sometimes
one of my son's classmates, he does it. I mean, he will miss class. He's like so into it, but he doesn't have to go to school if he doesn't want to. I mean,
he's doing good.
He made more than most people I know in a year. So yeah.
You got to have the knowledge, real strong knowledge of that, of what you're doing and what's happening, the tips and the real kind of maneuvers in there where the shortcuts and really, really what you're doing.
Right.
Because you can lose a lot. I know I've heard stories of people have lost close to 100,000, but they end up getting that 100,000 plus.
Yeah.
But that's where it started, because they learned after that loss, learned what not to do and what to do. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So now, so we're at that. Is there any other tips or ideas for like single parents and 2-parent household that will really broaden this financial security, where they also can share what's going on? How do they share this with the kids? What are some good ways or some good tips or some good strategy to get the kids involved early in their years of this financial security or this financial world?
I think it's crucial to talk to your kids. We started our kids off early with financial meetings and videos and talking to them, and I wrote a book, so they're walking around with a book, and they're hearing me teach the classes. They were sitting in on the classes, so my kids can probably teach the home buyers classes better than I can because they were there. I think that exposure is key, exposing them to different things. And one thing that a lot of people say that, oh, my mom didn't teach me how to balance a checkbook. Oh, my mom didn't teach me how to save. And I think I mentioned in the last class, my mom did the Christmas Club. My mom taught me how to write checks. I watched her, and she taught me how to balance the checkbook, as a kid. And I have friends who have no idea what balancing a checkbook is. They just put in what they spend or go to the ATM and see what they have left, you know?
Right.
And my godmother told me early on that she checked her bank account, her bank balance, like every 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
So that was something I picked up from her. And I was like, why are you doing that? She said, because of fraud. And we didn't even know what fraud was. It wasn't a big thing.
Right.
But she said people would do fraudulent charges and sometimes the bank would make a mistake. And a lot of people don't check their bank statements. They don't check their credit card statements. They just pay the balance. They pay that minimum $15 or whatever it says they have to pay. And a lot of them have it on automatic payments, which
Right.
is probably, it's a good thing, but it's not a good thing if you're not checking your statement. You know, you can go online and check, because last year, one of my credit cards, I noticed the bill was high. I was like, what? Wait a minute, I didn't buy anything. And they had charged me for 2 things that I didn't buy. Somebody else used it. And I called and reported it and they took it off. I mean, like within 2 days.
Yeah.
So if I just had an automatic pilot, I probably wouldn't have paid attention or noticed the difference.
Because I kind of shifted to that with, because I think I sent to you that it is stated that millenniums and Gen Zs are doing worse than their parents were at age 30.
Somebody else sent me that too. And that's a shock to me, because each generation is supposed to do better than the last.
Right. I wanted to play that audio clip if we can.
Sure.
Just look. I don't know.
People have every reason to be enraged, and every issue they see, they look up, they get angry, and they see someone doing better than them. And then every day it is speedballed in their face that they are failing. For the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. That is the social compact breaking down. People aged 30 to 34, 60% of them in 1990 had one child. Now it's 27%. People are opting out of America. They're not optimistic about it. They're not having kids. Young people are enraged. They see wealth, exceptional wealth across my generation and people in certain industries, and they are really struggling. Their purchasing power is going down, and the incumbents create artificial scarcity on campus. We take pride in rejecting 90% of our applicants, so the incumbents who already have a degree see their degree go up in value. Housing prices have gone from $290 to $420 in the last 4 years. We have lost the script. Our kids are more anxious, they're more depressed, they're more obese, they're more addicted. And we have made a purposeful decision to let this happen by ensuring that people around this table stay wealthy at the cost of young people. People have every reason to.
Wow.
That's tough to hear. I mean, it's true. And I can think of quite a few young people who are living that right now. I talked to some of my daughter's friends, and, we talk about them dating and getting married, and a lot of them are not interested in having children.
Yeah. My son definitely is like,
Wow.
Because I'm like, bro, you need to get, find you one, get married, and you need to have one. I want you to have one. I want you to have a child. I want you to have it. You're married, not out of wedlock.
Right.
Don't break the curse. But yeah, they're not. They don't want that, because they feel like it'll be more responsibility and now I got to work more and do more, because now I believe Gen X and millennials don't really have that work, that mind to work, that flow like the old parents did. They were going to work. They were going to make sure they had a job and continue to work. But a lot of them don't have that work ethic that they're going to go to work. They want to really work. They want to make it quick.
Right. And a lot of them, it's different because they work from home. They make their own schedules. They have to go into office maybe 1 or 2 days or 2 or 3 days, and they're traveling. They're gone. So they're not interested in having the traditional families that we grew up knowing and having. And their values are different.
Right. So what can be said to parents now that have a 7-year-old?
Okay.
That somebody may be watching, they have a 7-year-old son, 7-year-old daughter, and or that grandmother is raising a 7-year-old grandson or granddaughter, what can we say to them now to change that percentage, what we just heard?
I think we have to go back to, I don't want to say the olden days, but that's what my kids call it. Some of the more traditional things, like creating good habits, saving the money in the piggy banks. I mean, I don't know if people still do that, but if you do, it doesn't have to be a piggy bank. You put in a sock, put in a drawer, whatever. But we have to go back to some of the things that we used to do. Just habits like making up your bed and praying daily. The other day I was on a training for real estate, and the guy's alarm went off in the middle of the meeting. And he was like, "Oh my God, forgive me." And he kind of chuckled. And his secretary was like, "How could you?" He said, "That's my daily reminder to thank God." And I was just like, wow, this guy's multimillionaire, big time successful realtor. And I was so impressed with him. You know, I was like, yes, you know, number one, he believed in God, because I didn't know what he believed in. But for him to be as successful as he is, and in the middle of the thing, it went off. He said he has a daily reminder. And some people don't need a reminder. I mean, I get up and pray every morning, and in noontime or whenever I think about it, whenever it hits me, I'm driving down the street praying and praising God. But I was glad that he had that, because most kids now don't believe in anything. So they're not praying, they're not thanking God, they're not saying grace. You know, and my son, I'm like, "Hey, did you say grace?" And he's about spitting out his food trying to say it, because he knows I'm gonna call him on it.
Right. And I think the thing is, they don't see the importance of it as we did. And
because they're not going to church like we did. I mean, I don't want to listen to a religious segment, but that's important. And I think some of the morals and values that we were raised with, they don't have, because they're not going to church, they're not going to Sunday school, they're not going to BTU and all the other things, Sunshine Band and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and all the other things that we did that made us who we are.
Right.
So that's one thing that I think parents can do now with their 7-year-olds. And a lot of them still do athletics. And you know, my kids did Delta Gyms and Men of Tomorrow, the different fraternity groups and stuff like that. But whatever is out there, big sister, little sister, big brother, big sister, whatever it is, if you don't have a male in your house, there are programs out there, 100 Black Men, the different sororities, they will help you with your kids and reinforce the positive things that the kids need. Having the kids go to grandma's house or auntie's house, or, I mean, if it's safe, because you can't leave your kids with anybody these days. That's another thing. Yeah. And, you know, my kids would go every weekend to my mom's house, and they learn how to cook. My son bakes a better cake than I do. Yeah. You know, I mean, because he watched my mom, he watched my aunt. They would spend time with them, and they would share stories with them, explain things about our history that were important to us. And so they have a sense of pride. I mean, with our new leaders, I'll say, take the books out of the schools. We taught our kids Black history.
Right.
They didn't have to wait to go to school. I mean, you knew Chuck was going to give it to them.
Right. They knew it already. They already had
explain it to their classmates.
But you got some families that have gotten away from that, and I know we're probably getting a little off, but we're really not, because going back to the table, conversation back at the table, not just talking spiritual, but just talking social and life, and that doesn't happen anymore.
And how was your day?
Right. Because
and now, letting them say one thing. I mean, in the car on the ride home, I used to ask my kids every day, tell me one good thing that happened today. I don't say, how was your day? And they say good or bad. No, tell me one good thing that happened today. And we're going to have a conversation. They're going to talk to me.
Yeah.
And I think it made the difference.
But a lot of that has gone away from the table. We don't eat at the table anymore. I don't say we, because me and my son, we ate at the table. But a lot of times, families now don't eat at the table. It's not a family. I'm talking about two parent household.
Right. No, because Joe was eating in his room and Becky's eating in front of the TV.
Right.
We didn't do that here.
So we don't have the conversation no more. So we're definitely missing out on some of the things that those vital conversations that we were having growing up, and
Mhm.
just not about church, but it was about financial and social.
Yeah,
So there
because
was teaching going on.
if something had happened that day, how the wife asked the husband, "How was your day at work?" Something happened, and they discussed it in front of the kids, and the kids are like, "Oh," and they learn how to solve problems, and that's one thing that my kids can tell you, that we talked about things. We talk. If there's an issue, I mean, we have a code word. If you're having a horrible day or if something negative is happening, they send this word through text or call or whatever. We drop everything and we're going to see what's going on.
Right.
They know they're safe. If they're at a party
Wow.
and they don't feel safe, they text the code word, "I'm
Wow.
on my way." And I'm going to say, "Oh, something happened. I'm coming to get my kid. Thank you for having them."
Wow.
But kids don't have that. They're in abusive relationships. They're in situations that they're not safe.
Right. So we're the things that we're saying now, after listening to that clip,
Mhm.
we can say this is probably why the millenniums and the Gen Zs are at the place they are now,
Yes.
because that there was that generation after us kind of stopped the communication. We stopped the little communication too. We didn't talk as much as the generation before us
Right.
would,
Right.
'cause
Because I think, Jeff, technology did a lot of that too.
yeah.
And people are texting and people are on their phones, and we didn't have that. I mean, we had beepers. You could send
Whoa.
something, a message on a beeper, but that was it. And you had time. And before that, you were sitting at the table, and at a certain time the TV went off. So you didn't have all these cable channels that go all night. You can watch TV all night, or you can play games all night. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
So technology is good, but it's not good sometimes, because if it's babysitting your child versus feeding your child, eating lunch with your child, you put your child in front of the TV and you doing whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Because I really tried to make that a time for when my son when we get home and having dinner. It was like no cell phones,
Mhm.
no texting. Even with me, I put my phone aside. I really tried to be consistent at that, where we can just be at the table and we have a conversation, like you say, asking, what was good about your day, or what was outstanding about your day, what stood out in your class, or what didn't, you enjoy something that happened in your class. So
Right.
that was a lot of conversation. But like I say, I believe from that clip, we're at this stage with our millenniums and the Z's because of the lack of communication and lack of talking.
Mhm.
So that's why I asked the question tonight about those, what can we say to single parents and two parent household that, where we can get back to establishing and building our our families financial security.
There's certain things, I mean, including Kwanzaa, and a lot of people in our community don't embrace Kwanzaa for whatever reason. And at first, I wasn't really familiar with it. And then, Chuck introduced it to us and to our family, and we do it every year. Even last year, we did it, after he's gone. It's something that's important because it teaches you about economics. It teaches you about collective empowerment, and it teaches you about faith and all these different principles that our foreparents had. They worked together in the community, building community and helping each other. Every year we did Kwanzaa celebration for 7 nights, and we talked about the different things. And not only did we do it, our kids had to do it. Each night, one of us was the speaker. Even the kids had to present Kwanzaa night, and they talked about whatever the principle was and how it affected them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that makes a difference.
Yeah. Because like you said before, there's just some things that we have to establish doing when we have lack. Just be disciplined about. You were saying something earlier, and I remember Pastor Bishop always used to tell us that he would come home and whatever change he had left in his pocket, he would put it in a drawer or put it in a bottle, something like that, until till he got to a certain point, and he added all that, and end up being a couple of $100.
Right.
So so I'm like, wow, I'll try that. End up trying it, and yeah. I mean, quarters and nickels and pennies, they eventually add up. They add up if you just stay just committed to it and disciplined with it. It add up. And that was something that I was taking change to the bank, quite often. I still do it today. If I have change in my pocket, whatever, I have a bag. I put all my change in my bag. I don't know what's in there now. I think it's time for me to to undump it, unload it, because last I checked, it was like running over. So I think it's that time. But that's some stuff that we can do, that parents or single parents can look at doing whenever you have some extra change. Just be disciplined. And that actually became my emergency fund.
Yep. And it's funny because sometimes the homeless people say, give me 50 cents. And you're like, 50 cents? And it adds up.
It adds up.
Because you're not as quick to say no to 50 cents as you are to $1. So they're slick. They know exactly what they're doing. And some people will say, I'm not going to give you 50 cents. I'm going to give you $1. So right. We have to take a note from the homeless people.
All right. So we have 6 minutes. Close us out with something that we need to know, a tip that can help us be better in our finance, or whatever the tip you had to close us out with.
I'll say one thing that I tried to practice, and with my book, I taught for years financial literacy, teaching people how to budget, how to save, how to invest, and not worry about keeping up with the Joneses. I see that all of the time with younger people, with students trying to get what other people have, and you don't know how they got it. A lot of times people say, Lisa, you travel all the time. Half the time I go where I go for free. I don't pay for, most of my flights. So, and I think I posted today, it's National Ice Cream Month. For 3 years, I call her my ice cream angel. Somebody has given me BOGO free ice cream from Haagen-Dazs. Whenever Haagen-Dazs has buy one, get one, this woman sends ice cream to me and my kids. And my kids are pretty much gone, and that's why my face is fat. But you don't know how people get things. So don't try to keep up with them, because I have ice cream, or because I'm traveling, or because I'm going here, I'm going there. And you're spending your money, trying to keep up with me. Oh, Lisa went to the Bahamas. I'm going to go to the Bahamas. Lisa probably went for free. If you know me, I got the hookup from somebody, or I'm doing a speaking engagement, or I'm selling my books, or like when I went to Boston and got bumped off the flight, guess what? I got so many free miles to fly. And I've been using those free miles for a year. Wow. So the key is, don't try to keep up with the Joneses, especially if you have a goal. If you're trying to buy a house, if you're saving for school, if you're saving for college, if you're saving for your kids' trust fund, whatever it is, that reserve that we talked about earlier, if you're saving for that, be disciplined, and put away stuff for a rainy day, and buy a house. Leave a legacy for your children. If you can't afford to buy a house, get an insurance policy. That's good, so people aren't doing a GoFundMe for your funeral. I know that's a sore spot, but if you get an insurance policy.
Yeah. Because they're popping up more and more.
And I mean, people do what they have to do. I understand. So don't yell at me for.
No, because I've heard it from some funeral home directors that just, they share with me that, sometimes people can get insurance less than what they think they can.
A lot less.
Insurance policy less than what they think they can. Mm-hmm. But it's just a point of sometimes we're superstitious that, I'm getting you think I'm dying, or no, eventually, because the Bible says it's promised
We all gonna go.
that we're gonna die and then the judgment. So it is not that it's superstitious that you get a life insurance policy that you're just gonna automatically die once you get it. No, it's just to think about your family, because I mean, the other side, they'll put $150 a life insurance policy on their members quick
Immediately, and leave
quick
150,000 to the church, 150,000 to
Yeah.
the school, 150,000. I mean, I see it all the time.
And when they do pass away, they gonna do $10,000. They might cremate them, and they walking away with what they have. They walking away with what 140. So that, I mean, hey, that's business. I mean, is that
Economics?
Yeah.
So there you go with the stability that we talked about in the beginning. Get insurance. That's what you tell the people. Get insurance. Get an insurance policy.
Well, hey, listen, y'all. This has been the South Florida Live podcast, and we've been talking finance with the one and only Lisa Roger Cherry, man, and it's been great, very informative. Somewhere, I just got to go back to this, because when you were talking about the hearing the 6 pan for dinner,
splitting that 6 ways.
Yeah, mom was like, very interesting to hear the 6 pan for dinner. No, mother, we ain't doing that.
Give me my separate check, please.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But hey, y'all, once again, it's Lisa Rogers here. Hey, Lisa, give us again your I don't know if you put it in the comment, your how we can connect with you, how my viewers can reach out to you and follow you.
At Lisa Rogers Cherry. I'm on Instagram at Lisa Rogers Cherry. I'm on X at Lisa Rogers CHERR, because it was too long to go Lisa Rogers Cherry, so it's Lisa Rogers Chair. But I share my Financial Tip Friday every Friday on Instagram and Facebook. And Lisa Rogers Cherry Writes. I have a page that I share different information, and if there's a sale, a BOGO, and I was teasing today because it popped up on my stream. For 3 years, I've been getting the free ice cream, but I believe in BOGO, buy one get one free. Why pay $5 if you can get 2 for $5? And yay!
You left me out of that. I mean, I need Haagen-Dazs.
It was funny because people used to come to my house and go, "Do you have any ice cream left?" And I would have like a freezer of ice cream. Ooh. But I told her to cut back because I was trying to watch my weight. My doctor's like, "You don't need it," but I love it. But you have
Rocky Road the next time. Rocky Road.
Okay, got you.
But hey, y'all, there it is. Lisa Roger Cherry. Guys, check her out. Check out her Fridays, Financial Point on Fridays.
Financial Tip Friday, Jeff. Don't rename it.
I'm sorry. What I said, Friday tips. Every tip Friday. What is it?
Financial Tip Friday.
Financial Tip Friday.
Yes.
Okay, Financial Tip Friday. There it is.
You can hashtag it and it'll pop up.
Okay, there you go. Thank you once again, my sister. Appreciate you as always.
You're welcome.
And peace and blessings to you, and we'll be talking soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right, my pleasure. Hey, y'all, you've been locked into the South Florida Live podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Brown, and this has been powerful. So listen, those that are viewing, I need you to, y'all didn't do it yet, but I need you to tag some people, tag some folk that you do know, tag some folks that you do know who would get value from this information and on tonight. And would you do that for me? Just tag and share. Please share this podcast on this evening if you can, if you will, please, because we have to change the narrative of this financial situation in our Black community and our Black families. So if we can, share it with someone and let's change this thing around, if we will. Hey, listen. Once again, it's been my honor, been my pleasure. I thank you guys for joining me on tonight, and continue to keep us lifted up in your prayers. Once again, if you want to be want to support this podcast, that's our information there that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen. You can $, Power of Glory 777, $ Power of Glory 777. Our Zelle is Jeffrey Brown, Jeffrey JEFFERY Brown at gmail.com. So thank you so much for those who have supported us, who have gave to us and help us in some things, because we're trying to do some trying to get more digital is some stuff that we want to do. That way we don't have to you just play the audio video clip. We'll be able to do the live video clips. That's what we're working on now. So help us out, support us if you can. God bless you, God keep you is my prayer. And as I always say, I'll pray for you, you pray for me, and let's watch God change things. God bless you.
Email your idea for show topics to the South Florida Live Show at gmail.com. Thank you for tuning in to South Florida Live with your host, Jeffrey Brown.